don't have a long history of it like they have in Buffalo.
Right, right.
The fear of the weather, and get one started, and what if we end up with a blizzard? Now, I'd say over the last 20 years, we've lucked out with some really nice weather in March. So I don't know.
This year especially.
Yeah, yeah. It's
zero measurable snow. You really can't beat that.
Yep. I actually, my father had tried to get me to do one actually that would go up Newton Street from Maine and go back into the area that was always the Irish settlement in Fredonia, which the Goggins Alley, which was the bend and the portion of Newton Street from Lambert up until Main Street in Fredonia. And unfortunately, it's all homes, and there's not a big tie-in. To have a parade, I think you got to get tied into the entertainment of the downtown.
You are right.
You got to have a bar nearby to start with, for Pete's sake.
Well, you can always bring your own.
Yeah, and there are a couple nice. I've eaten at one of them. I can't remember its name now.
Yeah.
As you're coming in from Westfield, it's on your left. No, yeah, your left. A restaurant bar there, and their food was very, very good and reasonable too.
I'm thinking you're probably thinking the Brick Room.
No,
No.
it was an Irish.
Well, the Brick Room is adjacent to Coughlin's Bar.
That's where
Coughlin's
it was.
Bar.
Coughlin's.
Yep.
But
It's one of those restaurants that we now have. It's about, I'm going to say, about 3 years, just under 3 years in operation. And yeah, we
this
Then
nice
you got
place.
Annie's too.
And well, the difference, you don't have Sean's Bar doesn't have the food
But he has the liquor
that you can
store.
get.
But it was very,
Coughlin's
very
has the nice
pleasant, and
tie-in
food
with the
was quite good.
with the Brick Room.
They actually sell food, huh?
Now, I also have another question. This is kind of Dunkirk, but I think it kind of services the whole county. They had that really bad fire. Did that affect any of the services that you have in Fredonia?
Well, where it affected is the number of county services that were available in those two buildings.
Right.
And, you know, anyone that requires or uses those services, whether it's the mental health services, the health clinic, or social services, it has affected those people. And I'm sure that at some point we're going to get some decision from the county as to a North County presence for people to do those things. A lot of people right now are having to head to Jamestown or Mayville to make applications,
easy.
and it's pretty difficult.
Yes, you're right, especially if you're a senior. Which brings me to another subject. Mr. Powers, have you heard anything about, I had heard a rumor that because of the budget cuts and so forth, that they are going to cut off the senior program that the county runs that's good to help
I
seniors.
can't report what the final analysis will be, but it was in the front page of all the papers that he was going to cut all senior services. And I had Mary Ann on, who's in charge of the senior programming, and I explained to her, I think she's going to be down in the park in Mayville. They're putting a tent up there for her office. If they keep that much, you know, they might not even keep a little tent down there.
Well, I'm here to say that if it wasn't for the senior program, especially where the health care and trying to figure out what that's all about and so forth, because it's written for lawyers, it's not written for real people. And it just, I would have been overwhelmed. And they were so helpful, and I mean, I just couldn't praise them enough for what they do for the seniors. And I mean, I don't know what seniors would do without an advocacy and explanation agency like they have.
Well, thank you for your comments. I wanted to add, I might add, and this is not a real people here. According to this caller, lawyers are real people. We bring in millions of dollars regularly from ancillary funds and matching funds and other funding that comes to seniors. So if they cut the couple of $100,000 that they actually spend on seniors in the county, they're going to lose $1 million. That's insanity.
Well, and I think what you saw with the list were a variety of things. Actually, it was all of the programs that the county has control of.
Yeah.
And I think the point the county executive is making is we can't do a lot to control the costs on state-mandated programs, Medicaid, for example, social services. But the list that the county actually has control of, that has county discretion, basically what was in that article was a list of all the discretionary programs and I think a challenge from the county executive to our legislator. You know, we got 25 of them right now. There's more than enough to try to figure this problem out.
And isn't it funny, they had an election to decide whether to downsize or not, but who was the ones that voted on whether they decided to downsize or not? All right, it was the people that were deciding whether they were going to have a job or not. I think that should be put on a ballot and let the citizens of the county
We need
decide.
a referendum on that one for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, who would vote to say, gee, I think I'll get rid of my job?
It is extremely difficult to get anyone who's in an elected position to agree that they may be expendable.
Absolutely.
The work they're doing should be done by somebody else.
That's just common sense. I probably would not vote to get rid of my job if I was depending on it for a living.
There's a simple way around that. It's called grandfathering. You keep them around in their post until they die,
That's true.
and then that position disappears. That's all.
Well, that's pretty much what you have when you don't get anybody running for these offices.
You have that now, of course, but at least nobody would get aggravated about it, and they say, well, hell, I got my job as long as I'm alive, so who cares? You know, they make the $100,000 a year on that job. It's not bad. What do they make? It's nothing, right? It's
Oh, no. See, that's the thing. I mean, for the most part, the jobs in this county that are elected really don't carry high dollar amounts that anybody's making. And amazingly enough, they're still able to find people regularly to serve on school boards, where I don't think there's any school board in this county that has compensation for the board members.
No, they can zip. I served on a school board for years.
It's not the money that is typically the driving factor. I think there's a feeling once you've got a title or a position, nobody wants to let go of it. It's really more of when you run for something, you actually you reach the point where you believe that there's nobody that it has to be done by that government body, and why not be involved in it?
Indispensable.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to convince people that the work will go on. There are other agencies or higher levels that could take over those duties and do them just as well as you're doing. It's extremely hard for people to learn that. I learned at an early age that no matter how important you think you are to an operation, the operation will go on when you're gone.
Absolutely.
I was working part-time while I was in high school at Tops, and I remember going in to Jerry Trindle, the owner of the store, and telling him I was quitting to go to college, and I thought he'd beg me to stay at least 2 more weeks because I was so indispensable to the operation, and you know, he needed my price gun back so that he could give it to the next kid.
Good riddance.
And you learned. I mean, it was you know, at 18, or 17 and a half, 18 at that point, really thought, wow, this place isn't going to be able to run because all the stuff I do.
Good lesson.
You know, it's a story I learned, you know, and it keeps coming back to me all the time. That and whatever you're doing, when you're gone, somebody's going to take up the slack. And if a government is gone, if a governmental entity is gone, it's going to fall upon the town if a village folds, if it's going to duties that the county will assume.
You can't have a vacuum. Nature hates a vacuum. And if you need government, you're going to have somebody jump up and be government.
But you just need smaller right now.
Right. We don't need as many jumping up.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the call. Send me a stamped envelope. I'll give you 2 $5 checks off at that beautiful little restaurant at the foot of the hill, Mayville, the Lakeview. And it's 2 restaurants now. It's not only Lakeview, but it's also
a very nice restaurant.
It's a Docks. Yeah, they have great food. They have a salad bar there that kills.
Nice view.
That kills.
And a nice view.
Yeah, you can look out over the water. I can't believe
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for your call.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's of always a great interest. The government, and we have so many funny things doing. Incidentally, I did want to mention to you, Mike. We're going to give you a disc of this, a copy of it, before you go. And secondly, you can watch it anytime you want on YouTube. Just ask all your friends. It's on a bunch of different sites. But for the public here, if you want to pick up later on some of the shows, we archive them. Thanks to that wonderful engineer we have, Chris Burt. And he archives them, and Monday you can pick it up on YouTube. Watch yourself again, as well as keep the CD for old time. When you get old, you know, then you sit there. I remember that. We got a couple of calls. Let's take a caller.
All right.
Hey, Linda. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Reed. Good morning, Mike.
I missed your lovely voice for weeks and weeks and weeks. Where have you been?
Oh, you know, if you want to know the truth,
I do.
Friends of mine have been ill and very sick, and I haven't been around.
It's not. I hope it's not that poor old guy who lives with you.
No, no.
Okay, great. She lives with a real old fella. He's nice. He's so cute, really. And his name is Doug Spaulding, and he can almost get in free. You know how do you get into Chautauqua free? I got a list of 15 things, which is another reason Mike won't come on the show, because he hates it when I go through the list of how to get into free. But he's almost 90. You know, when you're 90, you get in free.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
He's got a way to go.